Hey people, this is my weekly rundown of things in entertainment news that interest me. And this was a very exciting week because this past Wednesday was the world premiere of the Avengers. And while the rest of us still have a while to wait, it's coming out May 4th in the US, and I'm not sure about the other release dates. There was a lot of cool stuff that came out this week in regards to that world premiere. And if you look at my description, I've got way more links than I usually do because there are just so many new interviews and pictures and videos to show, so I'm just going to get into that right now. Here's a picture of the cast assembled at the premiere. Marvel has extensive video coverage of this event, over an hour's worth, I believe, with interviews with just about every member of the cast. And if you are interested in getting an idea of what the atmosphere is like at this event, I think it's definitely worth watching. So far, the reaction from people who have seen the Avengers is very positive. You can see some of these Twitter updates from director Edgar Wright, the comic book writer Ed Brubaker, and I've included links in the description to a page with these Twitter reactions and also Twitter reactions from people who were at the UK screening of the film and have seen it there, and those reactions are also very positive. So it's pretty cool to have this good early reaction to the film and not be in the position like we were with Green Lantern last year, where you get all these negative reviews and impressions from the film early on, and you just kind of have to hope that maybe they're wrong and maybe it's going to be good despite this. It's nice to be kind of confident that, yes, I will be satisfied in this movie, and just have to kind of wonder how good it's going to be, because I don't like to just conclude, oh, people like it, so I'm definitely going to like it. I like to wait for myself, kind of prepare for the worst and hope for the best at the same time, but I am pretty optimistic, and when you see the trailers and it looks good and the response is good early on, it's pretty hard not to be excited about a film. One of the interesting pieces of information that came out this week was from Robert Downey Jr. He was at a press conference for the film, and he said that he and the rest of the cast were getting together that night to shoot another scene. And this led to a lot of laughter, and then he said that he wasn't kidding. And Mark Ruffalo later said that yes, they are getting together to shoot another scene. So this has led to a lot of speculation, rumors of what this might be, and after the credits scene, something in the film that they thought was important to add what. And the speculation has been fed by this tweet from Edgar Wright, who I believe Marvel has signed on to direct Ant-Man for them. And he said that he's gotten behind the camera for the first time in a while to do something, and he can't say what, but it's pretty cool. So people are wondering if this is maybe some kind of Ant-Man cameo, or some kind of lead into his film, or what. In my opinion, since it is so close to the release of the film, I find it kind of hard to believe that it's something that's going to be added to the actual Avengers film. So maybe it's a Marvel one-shot, like those little short films that they do, or maybe it's something that's going to be connected to Iron Man 3, which is coming out next year, I believe. I don't know, but it's kind of interesting to speculate about, and if it is something to do with Ant-Man, I think it's pretty cool, because Hank Pym as a character I think is important to the Avengers franchise, and I'd like to see him introduced. As I said before, a lot of cool stills from the movie have been released, so I figured I'd show you a few of my favorites that have come out. I've included a link in the description where you can download all of these in high quality, so definitely check that out. And also check out some of the interviews I've linked to. They've got a few video interviews from the cast members, so that'll last you a good while if you're watching all of those. And a pretty extensive interview from Kevin Feige, among some others. But the Kevin Feige interview is pretty interesting because it goes pretty in depth with Marvel's future plans for the next upcoming movies and where they want to take the Avengers, Thor 2, and all of that. So definitely check that out. And if all the pictures, interviews, and TV spots released recently have not been enough for you, Marvel has released a clip of Captain America and Thor fighting together, which is pretty cool. I have actually not watched it, but I've seen the reaction from people who have watched it, like the comments and everything, and it seems pretty positive. I mean, of course there are a few people who want to pick at it, but it seems like it's a pretty cool scene. The reason why I have not watched it is because with all the trailers and the TV spots and the Super Bowl extended TV spots, I feel like I've just seen so much for this movie that I wanted to cut myself off, so I'm just not watching anything else, and it's hard because something cool like this comes out, and the first instinct is to want to watch it, but I've said this before, you can only see something for the first time once, so if something really awesome is released, I want it to be part of that overall first viewing of the Avengers, so it can make that whole thing a little bit more special and enjoyable for me. But I did want to give you all the option of watching this because I figured a lot of you who would be watching this video would be interested in watching that kind of thing. So I brought it to your attention. Choose to watch it if you want to. But personally, I think it's worth waiting until you see the actual movie to see this scene in the context of the whole battle sequence. A bit of new information about Thor 2 has come out this week. There are 3 links in the description to articles on that subject, and one of those has Chris Hemsworth talking about one of the new focuses of the film, which is he met with Alan Taylor, the new director, and they discussed how they want to give Asgard more of a tangible, organic feel, which I think is a cool goal, because Asgard was done decently well in the first film from a visual standpoint, but we got a lot of far-out shots of the civilization and a lot of indoor shots of the throne and everything, but we didn't really get to explore and go into that world that much, because really it was split a lot between you had some Asgard, some Jotunheim, and some Earth. So I think to develop Asgard a little bit more, maybe kind of shoot towards the depth of Middle Earth in Lord of the Rings, if you could possibly do that, could be very cool, because there are 9 realms in Thor to really explore, and we've seen 3 of those. So I think in the future Thor films to explore more of that and really develop the world of Thor is a very cool goal. Also, some new information has come out regarding Iron Man 3. Ben Kingsley is in talks to be the villain of the movie, and the plot is said to be loosely based on the Iron Man story Extremis, which I've mentioned before. Extremis, the motion comic, when I watched it, I thought that it would be a definite good basis for a third Iron Man film, so I'm very excited to hear that they might be using that as kind of their inspiration for the plot of this movie. I think it's definitely worth checking out. If you have Netflix, you can easily watch it there. But if you don't, you can buy the motion comic somewhere or buy the actual comic. It's a good story and pretty interesting. If you are a fan of the first 2 Iron Man films, I think you will definitely enjoy it. Before I end this video, I did want to include this picture from The Dark Knight Rises, because there have been a few new pictures released and some brief comments made by Tom Hardy and Anne Hathaway regarding their characters. But it does feel odd to be talking about The Dark Knight Rises right now, because right now my hype is so Avengers focused and I'm really in that whole Marvel mindset. I'm sure that when we get closer to The Dark Knight Rises, I'll start to get more hyped for that, but right now it's just kind of in the back of my mind. But anyway, to get to the point though, Tom Hardy's comment was regarding the difference between the film versions of the Joker and Bane, in that the Joker was more wild, crazy, and just a force, and the whole some men just want to watch the world burn thing, he didn't really have much of a plan or goals or anything, while Bane is more methodical, focused, he has something that he's really trying to achieve through his actions. So that's one of the key differences between those characters. And Anne Hathaway's comment was that when she was auditioning for the movie, she thought that she was auditioning for the role of Harley Quinn, because she thought that the Michelle Pfeiffer portrayal of Selena Kyle was so iconic that Christopher Nolan might not want to tackle that. But obviously they are going with Catwoman in this movie, so she was wrong, and she got the role anyway. But kind of interesting to think about. But that's really all I've got to talk about for this week. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, subscribe, and tune in next time.